For every loved Supercell game, there's also a hated one, and a perfect place to start is with a game that's quietly loved, Hayday. Released on June 21st of 2012, Hayday is the oldest Supercell game still alive, and it has stayed relevant by doing something very simple, never giving players a real reason to get angry. Hayday has never been pay to win. Its monetization has always focused on convenience and cosmetics, rather than competitive advantages, meaning that spending money helps you progress faster, but never makes you better than other players. The game is also extremely chill. There are no rage moments, no toxic competition, no frustration like in games such as Clash Royale. And maybe that's why, since its release, Hayday doesn't generate a lot of content online, but the players who play it usually stay for years. It's quietly loved and almost never hated. Clash Royale, however, is the complete opposite. It's even considered the most hated Supercell game ever, especially after experiencing probably the fastest downfall of any Supercell game in history. Released in 2016, Clash Royale was once one of the most successful mobile games of all time. For years, the community accepted its aggressive monetization because the game was still skill-based and competitive. But over time, that balance slowly disappeared. The real breaking point came with final major updates, especially the December 2025 update, which introduced level 16 and a new class of units called heroes. These heroes came with unique abilities that could be activated during matches and that had a massive impact on gameplay. At that point, perception officially shifted from pay to progress to pay to win. Just a few months earlier, Clash Royale was generating around $70 million of revenue per month, but after these updates, its monthly revenue dropped to around $58 million by December of 2025.
The revenue is actually going down for Clash Royale. As you guys can see, 58 million is still insane, but you know, let's not forget, guys, just a month or two ago, it was at 70 or 80 million. So this plan of theirs has backfired.
Things became even worse when the official update announcement was uploaded on the Clash Royale YouTube channel on November 21st of 2025. It was met with an insane level of negativity, reaching a 67% dislike ratio, with comments like, "This is exactly how you kill a game," and "We didn't ask for any of this." For many players, this update wasn't just disappointing, it was the final confirmation of something that they had already feared. Clash Royale didn't become hated because it failed, it became hated because it changed too aggressively and lost the trust of the community that made it successful in the first place. While Clash Royale pushed players away with this update, Clash of Clans shows what really happens when a game keeps players happy, maintains balance, and slowly grows over the years. Clash of Clans is the game people have been calling dead for years, yet it somehow keeps growing and proving everyone wrong. It was first released on August 2nd of 2012, originally under the internal name Project Magic, and more than 12 years later, it's one of Supercell's biggest successes. In 2024, Clash of Clans was still a top 20 highest earning mobile game, generating around $356 million in revenue. That alone shows that this isn't just nostalgia, people are still actively playing and investing time into it. One of the biggest reasons behind this longevity is the monetization model. Clash of Clans does not pay to win, it's pay to progress. If you spend money, you don't gain an unfair advantage. You simply reduce waiting times. With enough patience, free-to-play players can still compete at the highest levels. Another key factor is the player base. Clash of Clans targets a much older audience compared to other Supercell games. Players who don't quit after weeks and don't get bored easily. That's why comments like, "Been hearing COC is dying for the last 6 to 7 years, yet it's still alive somehow. And people have been saying it's dead, but millions play." Clash of Clans players unite. Clash of Clans doesn't need to chase trends, and because of that, it survives them. But not every Supercell experiment was built to last. Squad Busters is not really hated in the traditional way, but it is one of the biggest disappointments Supercell has released in recent years. The game officially launched globally on May 29th of 2024, and after years of soft launches and internal testing, the expectations were extremely high. Supercell marketed Squad Busters as a massive crossover, bringing into characters from Clash of Clans, Brawl Stars, Hayday, and Boombeach into a single game. At launch, Squad Busters performed very well in terms of downloads, reaching millions of installs within its first few weeks. That initial hype did not last long. As players spent more time in the game, common criticism started to emerge. The gameplay felt shallow. Matches were fast and chaotic, but they relied heavily on randomness. Skill expression was limited, and many players felt that winning depended mostly on luck. Progression also became a problem. Unlocking and upgrading characters felt slow unless you spent money, and even then, it didn't feel especially rewarding. Unlike other Supercell titles, Squad Busters didn't offer a clear long-term goal, which caused many players to lose interest after just a short amount of time. By mid to late 2024, activity around the game had already started to decline across social media and community platforms. Most players describe Squad Busters as fun for a few days, but not deep enough to stay invested for months or even years. The concern was confirmed at the end of November of 2025 when Supercell officially announced that Squad Busters would be shut down.
It's funny because a lot of people are like, hey, Kairos, what's your honest thoughts on Squad Busters? And every time I would go to start writing a script for my honest review of Squad Busters after its global launch, you know that phrase, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? I opted for that because I felt a little betrayed. I felt like, what's the point of me making this video? They're going to ignore my feedback.
Servers were kept online for a short period after the announcement, giving players time to wrap up their progress before the game was officially taken offline. And just like many other Supercell projects before it, Squad Busters wasn't strong enough to survive the long term. Talking about long-term games, Brawl Stars is the perfect example. This might be a controversial take, but Brawl Stars is actually more loved by the community than any other Supercell games, even with all the criticism it has received recently. Released globally in December of 2018, Brawl Stars is now approaching its 10-year lifespan, and during that time, it has constantly evolved. Brawl Stars has offered more content ideas than almost any other Supercell game. The competitive and esports scene has been active for years, with official tournaments and monthly events that reward mechanical skill and game sense. But the most important reason why Brawl Stars is still loved is that Supercell actually listens to its audience. A perfect example of this happening is in late 2021. When gears were introduced, the system was extremely problematic. It was too expensive, heavily pay to win, and created a massive gap between free-to-play players and spenders, to the point where players couldn't even compete. After heavy criticism from the community, Supercell reworked the system over time, making it fairer and more accessible.
Scraps and gear tokens will be removed from the game completely. This means that every single scrap and gear token you've ever collected, no matter if you used it or not, will be refunded in coins.
Another important thing to mention is that Brawl Stars is the only Supercell game that hosts a podcast called Time to Explain, where devs discuss some of the most controversial topics in the game.
This is a podcast where we want to address most of the burning questions from the players. Here, we want to have like a casual and organic conversation with you about the topics you want to hear about. And we might have guests, maybe a content creator, maybe a pro player, maybe some random member of the community, who knows?
Sure, Brawl Stars makes mistakes, but it reacts to them. And that's why, even with all the drama, it remains one of the most loved Supercell games. But not every game gets a chance to evolve this way. Boombeach is one of the Supercell games that was never hated, but slowly forgotten over time. It was released globally on March 26th of 2024. It was originally meant to be a more tactical and serious alternative to Clash of Clans. At launch, Boombeach had a strong identity. The combat system was more hands-on, attacks required more precision, and players had a much more direct control compared to other Supercell games. For a while, it built a loyal and dedicated community. The problem wasn't the gameplay, but the support. Over the years, Boombeach has received fewer updates, less content, and almost no major innovation compared to Supercell's other titles. As Clash of Clans and Brawl Stars kept evolving, Boombeach slowly fell behind. By the late 2010s and early 2020s, the game was still online and playable, but its presence in the community had almost disappeared, and many players started referring to it as a dead game, even though servers were never shut down. Boombeach failed because it just stopped moving forward. But Supercell, if a game doesn't keep moving forward, it quickly gets left behind.